Welcome back. We are continuing with He Was Human by author Red Riviera. Chapter 4.
Elzer walking through the corridors of the cargo hauler as always, she had very little order to keep today. After her confiscation of the narcotic bloom earlier that day, the other Raxum did a surprise search throughout the ship. They'd confiscated an amount worth 2,700 slips, not a small amount. It seems one of the crew members thought he could make some extra cash by introducing it to the ship. Not a bad plan, considering the fact that the ship has 4,072 people on board. Most being species that are susceptible to a strong stimulant to bloom. Her friend James and the doctor might be the only ones that weren't. Speaking of the doctor, she had to visit her. Another round of injections since she had to make sure she wasn't affected by the foreign DNA of the hybrid child she was carrying. While she was here, she should inform the doctor of all the people who were about to have withdrawal symptoms. I just had to mate with a non-Raxum, she thought as she continued walking.
I've finished breakfast.
The words of James echoed in her head. Why did he act that way? Had James hated hearing the story of the human ship wiping out 100,000 Orcan ships? That's distressing. She entered the medical bay.
Elza, just on time as always for your injections,
she said, as pleasantly as always. As to be expected of Unicar, the friendliest species in the known galaxy, immune to virtually all poisons, not originating with drug tolerances that make no sense. Apparently, it was to do with the fact the enzymes were extremely complicated compared to other sapiens.
Third Vela, I'm also here on duty. You can expect some bloom addicts going through withdrawal to come through here.
Elzer responded to her, walking into the room at the back and removing her guard's jacket and shirt. She lay down on the table set up in there. The room wasn't big, and it didn't look like it was supposed to be used for prenatal examinations. It looked like it was prepared quickly and in rush. Which it was. Raxum, even ones used to it, rarely went into heat in space, and most other species would have requested leave along the ship's trade route at a mating outpost. A planet whose colonies are communities of species with mating cycles that became established during those cycles. Denying a species their mating rituals was a bad idea, and since they were normally predictable, a central meeting place on a neutral planet was useful, since it meant there couldn't be a claim of citizenship later.
Hey, you should take it easy. Stress is universally bad during pregnancy, you know.
Third Vela responded to that.
Still, bloom addicts will be troublesome. I should think of a way to make feel better about losing their crutch,
she said, scanning Elzer's stomach.
They both look healthy. Both.
Elzer exclaimed loudly, this shouldn't happen. Raxum had one child every 5 years when their mating cycle happened. 2 at once was unheard of, even when mating with species that had several children at once.
Is that not normal for Raxum?
Third Vela asked, sickly sweet as always.
It has never happened,
was Elzer's only response, which was true. Just how potent had James been in bed that he given a Raxum, the species famous for only having one child in all circumstances, pregnant with 2.
It may be normal for Unicar to have 3 to 5 kids each time, but Elza are infamous among species with large litters for being impossible to have more than 1 kid, it being known to reduce the options for a mating partner during the time of being in heat.
All of which was true. Most species accustomed to the idea of a partner giving birth to multiple kids didn't like the idea of their partner only having 1.
That's surprising. My sister Second Vela's children are half Raxum, and she gave birth to 3 kids, first, second and third Carnum. My lovely nephews. Still, it must just be because he was a male mating with a different species.
Third Vela said, injecting the immune stabilizers into the fetuses.
There, all done. You can go back to work now. If you must. Wait.
Elzer exclaimed as Third Vela started walking away.
The digestion aids, you haven't been using them?
She asked in a combination of shock and worry. Herbivores couldn't process nutrients from meat. Several digestion aids, as they were termed, were used to remedy it.
No need.
Third Vela responded.
Everything should be fine, though I was shocked when I realized. He's arboreal like me and has a high tolerance to drugs and poisons, like me, yet he's a carnivore. It's rather scary to think about a carnivorous ape, though. He must be from a really dangerous death world,
she said before walking back into the medic bay from the makeshift room. A carnivore, James, but he's arboreal, an ape-type creature. All other arboreal species were herbivores. A death world that produced carnivorous apes exists.
End of chapter. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and visit the author, and I'll see you next time. If you didn't, comment on what I can do better. And as usual, have a wonderful day.